Well, if there were a fire, I mean, there would be major issues here. But I'm looking at the people with their luggage, which just always amazes me. You know, that's what slows things down.
And
people
it's 149 people, too, Jim, 149.
So that's pretty much, there has to be at least one flight attendant for every 50 passengers on board. So you're dealing with 3 flight attendants on this plane. I would think that this was a full flight or very close to. I don't know what the capacity of an A320 is, but I would assume it was pretty booked.
Well, that's what Will did tell us.
Yeah.
He said it was a pretty full flight. People heading down to Florida about a little over 2 hours, he thought, in terms of travel time.
And planes are always certified with a commercial aircraft like this. It's one flight attendant for every 50 passengers. So, for instance, if this plane held 150, you know, or 151 passengers, they'd have to add a 4th flight attendant. So I'm thinking 3 flight attendants. It was probably full to capacity, maybe an empty seat or something like that.
And 2 pilots. We're hearing it was a 5-person crew.
Yeah.
U.S. Airways, of course, Jim, a very big presence here in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, and I mean they've got a pretty good track record. I mean it's like, I mean tires blow, trust me. I mean I had many years, I flew for 8 years and we had blown tires. It happens. Landing gear collapsing, a little more, you know, that's a little bit more of a sketchy situation. I think it's interesting how he's saying that the plane took off, kind of went down again, then took off again. So we'll see. You know, the interesting thing is a lot of times when you speak to people immediately after an emergency and then you find out what the actual scenario was, a lot of times it's kind of like an out-of-body experience. They really are just kind of like in such an emergency mode at that point. Their perceptions and the reality are 2 different things. But I mean, again, this was, I mean, it's very fortunate we're not hearing of any major injuries here. We can't see the other side of the plane, so I don't know if the exits were open on the other side, but the plane obviously is at a tilt with the front 2 doors open, and they got everyone out.
All right, Jim, thanks so much. You really shine a light on this, kind of help us understand what happened. Again, this was a U.S. Airways flight that blew a tire, and then front nose gear collapsed. Passenger on board, Will, told us that it went up, came back down, went up again, came back down again. That's when they finally stopped. And the passengers, all 149 of them, evacuated that plane safely. 2 minor injuries, which really, when you think about the scope of these things, is quite remarkable. U.S.
Airways Flight 1702 from Philadelphia to Fort Lauderdale, 149 passengers, 5 crew members on board. And we are pleased to report that all are safe tonight. We will continue to follow this story. We'll bring you the latest on Eyewitness News at 10 on the CW Philly and right back here on CBS3 at 11.
We'll return you now to The Insider. You can find the latest at CBSPhilly.com.